Hi, everybody! Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown! Happy Monday!
Jessica, we agreed we were going to talk like this!
Alright, well, it's just the introduction. That was a pre-recording. It happens every time. Yes. We're coming to you live from the 40s?
Jolly
50s?
old England. No, I don't know.
Hi to
apologize.
the first people in, the first folks in chat. We have Mom of Goblins, Shiny 8-Bit Boo, hello, Willmeister, and a few others. Thank you so much for showing up for us on this Monday for the Dungeon Cooldown, our talkback show. We talk all things Dungeon Run, and we do take questions from the Patreon. If you are not part of our Patreon, we can drop that link in the chat for you to join, and you get exclusives such as cast secrets and some DM creations. What else do they get?
They get lots of poetry from Jared.
Mainly poetry.
They get the VOD to this wonderful show. The VOD for this for the Dungeon Cooldown every week goes up on Tuesday, and that is the only place you can catch the VOD for the cooldown. So
yes.
This show
entered into the raffle.
The raffle.
Woo!
That's
The
right.
raffle.
The birthday to birthday raffle, I think, as Jeff coined it, is done. As yesterday was Jeff Kanata's birthday. Happy birthday to Jeffrey.
Happy birthday! 100 years old.
We did not quite hit our goal. We came very close, but you know what? We love you guys so much and we just got to get rid of this map. So we are gonna do.
I'm selling this puppy.
No, Jared, no, we're gonna give it away. We promised it to the patron.
Highest bidder.
So we were gonna do a random drawing later this week. And someone will win I've signed the thing. It is gorgeous.
Yes, I want it. I really do want it.
It feels like parchment, you know. It's absolutely beautiful. And you can get it, and feel free to judge all of our plans about which ways that we move on the map.
Up close and personal.
Why did they go over here?
Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribing to our channel. We just had a sub come through from Goofus McDorkle, and I saw one earlier from Ahoy Gingerbeard and Spoofers132. So we also have a Prime subscription from Lordcast 2000. So if you didn't know, you can subscribe to our channel for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription. So we are very grateful for the support that we receive, not only through Patreon, but also through Twitch. So thank you so much.
And we're working on some more stuff for the channel. Not only this Wednesday, as everyone knows, we'll talk about more of this shortly, but is the finale of Jared's Festival of Sapphire Lights two-shot. Finally, on Wednesday, we get to see what happens to that ragtag group of misfits.
Seriously, very misfits.
Very ragtag.
Oh, and that being said, next cooldown, so next Monday, we're having Jasper, Unadi, myself, and Jessica on the cooldown so that we can discuss the aftermath of Sapphire, but also to discuss what is going to happen next to their characters.
Ooh.
Because there's a big decision that needs to be made. For what they're going to do next. Interesting. Like you're gonna do like one of those freeze frames and then like a caption underneath that says like at the end of like a John Hughes movie, it's like ha 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 ha, he died. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, okay, let's start with last week though first. So last week was episode.
Wait, one more thing.
No, go ahead. Please.
So, what I would love from all of you, whether you do it through the Patreon or you do it through Discord, is start thinking up questions that you want to ask Jasper and Unadi and Jessica and myself for the next cooldown.
You can just ask me questions anytime. Just pop on to Hello Goodberry.
That's true.
Yes, we have an Amazon Prime subscription from Hedonist Ogre. Thank you so much. 5 months.
There you go.
Whoop whoop.
Nice. That's all I wanted to say. Prep
those cues. Prep those cues for Jasper and Unadi. We love them so much, and we look forward to doing more stuff with them in the future. Yes. We just continue to, Jared's DM'd now. We brought back Amy. We keep having more guests. We got more cool plans for this here show. We can't, we're never going to stop doing the dungeon run. But we also just got some other cool things in store that we're like, that might be we'll pitch something and we're like, that might be another show, something like that. Conversations like that going on. Yeah. But anyway, bonus shows. So anyway, episode 90 last week, coronation of the war chief. Civ Jared got their party.
Finally.
Jeff,
fight for that.
One thing Jeff is very good at, can I just start off by saying that I've noticed Jeff really is good at describing food.
Yeah, how
He
very
likes his food.
George R.R. Martin of him.
It's true. It reminded me of Redwall, like the Redwall books growing up that I was such a fan of. There was actually a Twitter account called like Redwall Food Generator, and it was literally like, it's the most random niche thing where it's like that books, because those books are very good about describing, different types of food, elderberry tart with all of this. And go back to Stranger's Fate, and go back to when Frophy made us dinner at Maracume Farms, and then the Orc Feast this last week. Jeff puts a lot into his food descriptions.
Man likes food.
The sense memory thing, yeah. And
Yeah.
It really sets the scene, too. Like, you start to smell the smells of the roasted meat and all of the different vegetables,
For
and
sure.
it really starts to fill out that scene in the drinking hall or the meat hall or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and then when he got to the point where he was like, and you have the head of each of the beasts at the end of the table, I was like, this is some serious Viking stuff that we're going into right now, and I am here for it.
Eating demons.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We just got to 100% of our level 1 hype train because Hadrian just dropped 1,000 bits for us. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Hadrian.
Thank you, Adrian.
Yeah. Love it. But it was, I think this was one of those episodes where I feel like we just dropped so much lore in the space of our one episode. There was so much going on, and that we knew that had
All
been
of the
coming.
orc gods, every single orc god, they all just kind of popped into existence now.
It's like, what? Yeah, and I wonder if some of those. That's right, I forgot about that bit. I wonder if some of those, if we translate them from Orcish into whatever, like, do those line up with the other deities that we know of?
Yeah, like the custodian.
Right, the custodian, I'm forgetting all of the others.
What was the
Look at
name
my
of
emails.
what was the name of the one that the orcs didn't cheer for?
Right.
That's interesting.
I asked about that one immediately, where it was like, what's the deal with that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, suddenly everybody was like, that guy. It's like, oh, there's an unwanted one. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Of course, James is the one that was.
That's the god of loss in battle or something like that. Which is
Sure.
what orcs are
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. We don't ever
Not
lose.
a fan.
It makes me so excited to just keep telling this story and keep the more layers of the onion we continue to peel, and there's still so many what ifs and still so many things that I feel like we could poke at and go like, what's going on over in Pash? What's going on over in the
Bojibo.
Bojibo.
Envisioned. Bojibo.
Good catch. Passion
Bojibo.
Envision.
Ah.
That sounds right. And but just continuing to kind of, force Jeff to keep telling the story with us. But also, it's just that you keep getting that feel of this larger world around you. Which
We
again,
haven't even been to half of the map. Like
I
Pash and
know. We haven't been to where
everything.
Daddy is.
I know.
Let alone
Yeah.
going to the Shazengao city, which
Right.
you know is going to be massive because
Oh
it
my
takes
God.
up like a 3-inch diameter chunk of the map.
But,
Yeah, they're
on one hand, it's like the fewer places we've been on the map, the longer our show will go. Because
That's right.
there's just so much unknown. We couldn't possibly end the story yet.
We're just gonna go back to Bingle and go
Well,
back to Boston and hang out.
We are still only level 10.
We are only
And it
level
gets
10.
exponentially more difficult to level up as you go, supposedly, right? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely slowed. The level progression has slowed.
Well, and Jeff held us at a certain level during the time travel thing, because I think he had
Yeah.
set up some certain things to to not, and then I think it got to be too long because pandemic. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, fine, you're level 8. Yeah,
I'm glad.
Fine.
I'm glad that at the end of the last episode, we did have the kind of like the DM interjection of like, you have to make a decision of where to go next, because I also wanted to make a decision of where we went next, and
100%.
You
And-
went to bed. You were trying to go to bed.
Yeah, you were the one trying to go to bed.
No. I
Definitely.
see that was not me trying to go to bed. I was just thinking ahead of like, before we go to bed, I want to be able to do this. But yeah, I wasn't saying Fahima walks out of the room and goes to bed.
Jeff's like, you must make a decision, and then Jessica's like, well, I'm tired, so please.
No, I wasn't trying to say that. I also was running on 4 hours of sleep during that episode, so there was a lot where I was like,
So you were role playing that you were tired and you needed to take it.
No, I really thought we didn't have to make the decision in the room we were in. I thought we just had to make the decision before we went to bed.
Got it.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
okay.
Jeff knows us well enough to where it's like,
He's like,
all right.
we're locking the door.
Yeah.
We do run off on tangents quite quickly and easily, and that can happen. But yes, it was definitely time to make the decision as to what's next, where are we going, what's happening.
I hope we made the right decision. I hope we don't show up in Turles and it's like our faces on a wanted poster every 2 blocks.
Oh, Turles has got its fair share of problems, but Turles also has the most boxes to check, though, and I think that's
Sure.
I think that's now not going straight to Ook Dune. Jared and I were talking about this a little bit before the show started. Not going straight to Ook Dune is almost certainly going to bite us at some point, because Ook Dune's a powder keg, and something's going on over there. But there is a lot of stuff that we can knock out in Turles. Hopefully quickly. I don't know. I feel like for the longest time, the two most urgent things, on top of the Ashen Mage, of course, and the Wardens, but the two most urgent things were freeing Torvald and Diptha, and and Jorel in prison. Yeah, those are like the people, our friends who were suffering, who hopefully we can do something about.
Yeah. Can't wait for that scene. Jorel, buddy, how you doing? How's life?
I got ideas. We'll see.
I will say that one thing that I don't know if we thought out, and I was thinking of this today when I was driving home, is we probably won't be able to take 15-foot tall birds, a giant bear, and a war horse through the portal into a broom closet in Turles. I don't know how we would do that.
I don't think we know it'll go straight to a broom closet.
Yeah, I did not remember the whole broom closet situation.
It's the end of episode 6, or start of episode 7.
Yeah, the expectation for us to remember stuff that we did 2 years ago is out of control. Like, God, we don't want...
Totally agree.
We took some notes on a piece of paper at the time. Like, give me a break.
I weirdly remembered the broom closet thing because I was like, yes. I just remembered we started in a weird room, and I remember changing into my Nightstone robes while we were still there.
Yeah.
And I weirdly remembered that. No, I don't know if the Natural Order can control exactly where the portal is, so it might be randomized.
Really? That's
which
even
might just
scarier.
well, here's the thing. Jeff Canadas, I don't think he's watching.
Let's just compliment him profusely, and then he'll definitely stop watching. My God, Jeff, we love Jeff. Jeff is the most amazing DM ever.
He's so great.
Okay, is he gone?
All right, we've embarrassed him out of the room. Okay, great. All right, so let's remember what we keep hearing is that Turles is under siege by demons all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So here's the thing that we should be afraid of is what if Torvald's portal dumps us outside of the city? I'm a little focused.
What does that do with the demons?
Meaning we'd have to fight our way into the city to get past the demons.
I see. It's worse if it doesn't put us into the closet.
Yeah.
Because of the demons, yeah.
Yeah, one way or another. But
Thank you for the cheer, Pack NW Fallstar.
Thank you.
It's Pro has a good point. James' demon-esque appearance should go over well in Turles then.
Right. Yeah. I mean, James.
There might be some bardic seeming spell casting from Lily to deal with all of these issues. But
Yes.
still, like, even if you make the 15-foot tall bird or the 500-pound, bear look like, I don't know,
Theming isn't that powerful.
Yeah, it's still that size. It still has, its own thought process and they're animals. They're animals. So,
Well, and
yeah,
other things we need to do. Turles could take a minute. There's a lot going on in Turles. I mean, we obviously we've got urgency. We've got things to go. We gotta get to Jean. Gotta walk through Axbright. Got a lot to do, but also there's a lot to knock out while we're in Turles. I'm assuming I don't put it past Jeff. We can just walk into Whitebeard's vault and just get it, right? We don't need to rob the place, do we?
Because it belongs to us?
I don't think we need to rob it, but we will probably have to do some talking because we will need to look like our old characters from the time skip scenario.
Which was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or make us look like Whitebeard or Whitebeard's crew somehow so that we can then claim we've come for Whitebeard's treasure. And even then, I think it's going to take some... Luckily, we have Lily and Civ and James to persuade whoever we need to persuade. Worst case scenario, you just cast suggestion on them and tell them,
right,
everything's copacetic.
So
just give us the treasure.
Do we think this is going to be an actual side quest, or do you think it's going to be like a mini side quest? Because I was assuming it was a mini side quest, pretty
the last
straightforward.
heist went so well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Flawlessly. I can't wait to do another one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll never speak of it again.
Honestly, it might be better if Civ just gets a job as a guard in the vault, and you guys can do whatever you want in the town, and I'll work my way up the chain of command in the guard, and then eventually steal the treasure and bring it back.
20 years later.
So, a couple years.
Yeah, more smoothly than anything else that we could possibly come up with.
Hadrian says the card said it was your treasure. That said it was your treasure was before the flashback.
True. But it is. I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and revisit that episode.
It was Whitebeard, Loudmouth, and he got his tongue cut out in front of us.
Yep.
And it was all of us, and we still looked like our characters from the time warp. That's when we dropped off said treasure. It happened very quickly because Jeff was trying to kind of push the story along plot-wise.
Yes.
But yeah, if we show up as those characters but older, we should still be able to talk our way through getting that treasure because we dropped off the treasure with Whitebeard.
Yeah, and there wasn't. I'll have to go back and revisit. There wasn't like a password or any sort of,
We jumped out. We jumped out of the vision before that got finalized. He cut out Loudmouth's tongue, and then there was a couple moments of us reacting, and then boom, we flashed forward into the Dwarven Vault.
You can assume there was a very awkward meeting with the people of the banker, like, hey, listen, you can store your money here. Cutting tongues out in our lobby is like against our regulations.
Yeah.
This is the first offense. We'll let it fly this time, but
That's what.
second time, you're out of here.
I think that was part of Whitebeard's plan to flex his muscle so that the people that are taking his treasure and holding it in the vault know that he's a dangerous man and he'll do what it takes to, to get his treasure back if needs be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love how Unknown Axiom says, heist the vault, and somehow Fahima will wind up with the bone from Cheesemongers. Yeah, all we need to do is accidentally split the party, and whoever has wandered off will somehow do something crazy and
Fingers crossed.
We do have a question from Spoofers132. Are there any plans to re-implement the Force of Good, Force of Evil cards? Yes, there are definitely plans. Right now, we are working with a program. We're working on programming something that's like a custom extension for the channel, but that it's pretty difficult to do that. So we have talked to
hiring a programmer.
yeah, I mean, we have talked to folks at Twitch about this. We've had some recommendations of other channels who are doing something similar. So we are working on getting that up and running so that it's automatic and part of our channel. Yes.
Yeah, we don't want Jeff's head to explode quite yet. So
No.
we need to
But
automate
yes.
as much as possible.
Right, but yeah, it will most likely take a similar form to what we had done before with like the progress bars. We're almost definitely not going to go back to like the 30 cards an episode or whatever. So we know we really enjoy them, and we know everybody else enjoys them too, and the influence it can have over the show. So we'll most likely go back to like, you know, where one will unlock and then another will unlock, and similar to what we were doing last year at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is that the balloons also count on that progress bar as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely. Yeah, it's continuing to sort of build towards that. So similar to the war, but tweaked and with more cards an episode, for sure. They say, I love seeing Jared's face whenever the party loses gold. And but then you were dropping money this last week like it was nobody. You were just like, and then I give him, and then I give him.
Spend money to make money. That's the old Swatch way.
Got it.
Is it? There's nothing about stealing in there?
You gotta stab people?
Yeah.
Well,
There's no murder
that's
involved?
one way of spending money. I mean, you had to spend money on the dagger to stab someone, so
Yeah.
really you're still
Right.
spending money.
All right.
Yeah.
Checks out. That logic checks out.
Yeah. And
But
you
I-
gotta bribe the guy to look the other way when you stab his friend, so yeah.
Yikes. I think Turles, there's a lot of hidden complications in Turles where it's just sort of like how it's either going to be get in, get out, you know, drop off Torvald,
Right.
do what we can about Jorel.
Uggo threatened a man's life, and then that man was killed in the way that he had threatened him.
Yep.
His arm was ripped off, and he was beat to death with his own arm.
Yep.
So, yeah, people are looking for Uggo,
Yep.
which means they're also looking for the rest of us.
Correct.
Is there still a ban on magic in Turles? I assume so.
Wow.
Yes.
Last
Yes.
I believe Nance said it in
Did
the
she?
dream in episode 89. Yeah, it's confirmed that it's still going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So
And now
no fireballs in the middle of town. Fatima.
well, Meep is also giant now. So, I mean, not
gosh.
giant, but, you know,
Seeming.
chicken sized.
Seeming.
Yeah, make it seem like a chicken on your shoulder, like it's Legend of
Oh,
Zelda or something.
totally, yeah. Chicken on the shoulder is much more normal.
You know what we should do? We need to hire a low-level illusionist to just walk around with us and constantly be casting disguise spells on us.
But
Oh,
won't
man.
they
Have to worry about it.
won't they detect the magic of that if there's a moratorium on magic?
Yeah.
Probably. A
That's-
low level illusionist sounds like a good band name. This actually plays well into one of our questions from Patreon from Paste Pot Pete. On a scale of 1 to 10, how overwhelmed with choices was the party this week? Do you miss the old days when a Natural Order member would just open a portal and send you on your way to the next mission? I feel like we needed one of Lily's lists. Yeah, I mean, it was... I think it plays a little off of what we were saying a few minutes ago, where it was like, I think there's upsides and downsides to every choice.
Yeah.
And I think going to Turles was most about, there's the most we can do there. And maybe I say this, I don't know this right. I don't know if this is right. I feel like the most urgent stuff is in Turles, but Ukdun, might literally blow up in our face.
Well, I was just kind of thinking this all kind of comes down to how we as players have differing play styles, because I feel like some of us are completionists and want to do everything in every place. Some of us, perhaps when playing an RPG or an open world RPG, will try to make the right decision to progress the plot in a particular way that they want to play the game. All perfectly valid. Whereas my play style is, I'm not a completionist, and I will make the wrong decision in an RPG just to see what happens. And I will, so I just kind of want to shoot straight to getting to the Chrono
John.
Dragon grave.
Yeah, John.
I see that. I think here's what, and I think you're absolutely right, Jessica. But my counterpoint to that though is that Jeff's world he's created is so complex that completionism is invalid.
Yeah.
Because no,
You can't.
That was what
You can't complete it all.
Oldswatch. It was we were talking about Oldswatch. Like we could spend years
Yeah.
in Oldswatch, and it's so complicated and systemic and just deep built into that place.
Yeah.
that
Well, I'm generalizing, of course.
No, for sure. But if we could suddenly make that all okay in one day, it would feel fake. It would feel so like unearned and fake.
Yeah, is there a cheat code? There's no cheat codes.
Yes, the Oldswatch cheat code. Just
Rosebud, exclamation point, semicolon.
reverse years of class warfare, and suddenly everybody is okay. Yes, I would like that cheat code. Thank you so much.
I do have an idea, and I'm tempted to pitch it to Ugo, but I have an idea of a way to fix Oldswatch, but it would be a slow burn, and it would revolve around whether or not he wants Thorn to get involved. And right now, I'm getting the sense from Ron/Ugo that he kind of wants Thorn to take a back seat and focus more on science and faith and figuring out who those orcs really are, as opposed to getting them further involved in world politics and war.
I think
I could be wrong. He might want to go to war. He might want to, throw down against Ukdun or somebody else. But I get the feeling that he doesn't want that.
I think he's being protective for now because of this like time of transition of the entire city coming out of this rule by Braca, and also now being removed of their rage.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the biggest concern is if he walks his people right into another battle without this thing that they've had for so long, this like natural or not natural
fuel.
as it turned out, but this fuel, are they just going to get slaughtered? And so I think Ron and Ugo are playing that safe, at least for now. We'll see how long that lasts. If you get pushed to making another decision, maybe you have to.
Well, it sounds like, based off the conversation that I heard Bogash and Ugo have, it sounds like he's in a catch-22 situation. There's Ukdun, who says, give us more troops so that we can go kill the dwarves.
Right.
And if he doesn't do that, then Ukdun will view that as an act of war and betrayal, and they will go back to attacking and fighting with Thorn. So it's either orc versus orc, or send more orcs to possibly die battling the dwarves of Vendur.
Yeah,
which is not a choice that I would want to have as a leader. Like, he just became Shaman King of Thorn, and all of a sudden he's thrust into the situation where it's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's something that Jeff is turning the screws on slowly, and I think Ron sees it, but I don't think Ugo even quite realizes what he's in for. And it'll be really interesting if he leaves someone else in charge. What happens?
But ultimately, they're working with Urtenfurt to build this, mechanical
Mecha
warden and
Mecha Warden. It's a Mecha Warden.
Mecha Warden. Mecha Warden. And so leaving room for the unknown and leaving room for some strife, I think, is just going to be part of it, because we can't solve this problem. Otherwise, we'll solve the Urtenfurt problem, and that might just need to be part of this later plot that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Facing him later on when we're stronger.
Yeah. I definitely think Ukdun is a powder keg, and when we have to face it, and what kind of situation we're in is going to be completely up to Jeff, because we'll have moved on to Turles and then gone on to Zhang, and I'm thinking maybe sometime around when we're in Zhang is when we're going to hear these rumors of the Mecha Warden coming down out of the mountains and attacking dwarves or something along those lines.
And we're not completely powerless in the meantime. I mean, we talked about it. Hopefully, bringing the dwarves into the situation and letting them know sort of what's going on through Dondo, probably not through King Forbrand, but through Dondo and letting them.
King Forbrand is a jerk.
Yeah, big jerk. If you're just like, hey, Thorn's vulnerable, Forbrand will go like, cool, we're going to Thorn.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
But if we present it right, if we play our cards right, it adds another level to our game right now, where it's kind of like this politics. I mean, or this handling of relationships that way that could be super interesting. I saw a good question from Gamershare, or sorry, no, from Brandon Nerd. Sorry. Why didn't the party make a bigger deal of Ugo's lie about killing his father? Ugo has been dishonest about that, I think she means to say, from the beginning.
Well, we've all lied. We all have secrets.
Who are we to judge?
The only person that could call someone else out in this group at this point is Lily. And Lily forgives so easily, except for when we kill halflings.
Yeah.
She forgives so easily. That's it. Anybody else would be a complete hypocrite. Sid would be a hypocrite. James would be a hypocrite. Even Fahima has secrets, you know?
I think it was very much that, and like none of us can really stand in judgment on the others, but also it was written very clearly on the faces of both Ugo and Braca what their father had done to them.
Oh yeah, totally.
And how awful that was.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, just, you know,
let's punish the abused children.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dad both killed their mom and drove one of the kids. Well, drove Ugo into isolation and complete like exile, and drove the other one into evil, basically. So I'm guessing Dad wasn't great. So yeah, it's one of those where it's.
Well, and also Ugo kills a lot of people. Like Ugo is used to be a very violent person, so
True.
Discovering that his violence was a bit more violent than expected is a less of a shock than finding out bookish James had killed an innocent, you know.
I see that. Yeah, and I do think I do think we'll talk to Ugo more about it. I don't think that matter is settled by any means, but in terms of just like calling out Ugo about his lack of honesty about that, or about omitting that, you know, I think
he's also dealing with ruling a city now.
Yeah.
You know, a people. So like the worst time to poke a bear is when it's already aggravated. You know.
Yeah. Right.
And I feel like Ugo is doing a very good job of trying to keep control of himself and of Thorn.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And it could easily go south very quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, Civ is expecting it to go south pretty soon, especially if we leave.
There's a lot that's going to be in the hands of Bogash and Gurk.
Yeah.
It's Bogash. Jeff clarified that. We immediately made him Brogash.
Yeah.
And some people are saying Brogass.
It might be Brogash.
Maybe. But it is officially Bogash and Torvald.
There you go.
Not Torvald. Torvald. That's right. Yeah. Oh, but then what to do with Braca?
Well, the orcs are going to decide that.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
We still have the obelisk to take care of too, that I keep forgetting about.
Well, and is Dipthede just gonna live here now? I think she has to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We tried to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nowhere to go.
You bring in a priest, and the priest is like, "I got nothing." Then, like, what do you do? High level wizard, high level priest. They can't figure it out. Okay.
I thought
Guess we're
about.
screwed.
Yeah, and this is a note. Make a note, Jessica and Jared. We need to use the belt more. You use the belt to definitely.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
When I it's so funny that it didn't occur to me. I'm so glad the polymorph moment happened, exploding the what's it from the
Incredible.
inside? But
Aboleth.
Aboleth. I had obelisk in my head, and I was like, that's not what it's called.
Aboleth.
But it occurred to me that one episode later, I was like, oh, I could have just made a big old hole. Could have just dove right down and made a big old hole in the water.
It just had like the water signal.
Yeah.
Drown. Huh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You mean like drain the pond?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is just a big flopping fish at the bottom of the pond.
Yeah.
Throws.
I definitely want to use the belt more because it's only been used very circumstantially, and it could be pretty powerful. Especially the flesh to stone ability is something that that was another thing that I could have used on the Aboleth, because there's no size limit on that spell. It's just
it has to fail some saves though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Got it.
Yeah, but I mean that's just as likely as succeeding on what I did. So
true enough. Yes. Yeah, flesh to stone is a nasty spell for sure. But yeah, the belt is we definitely got to make good use of the belt. I've got to continue learning my shield. James's AC is still only 14, and like every time Jeff rolls, I'm like, don't even bother, it's gonna hit me.
Why don't you just learn mage armor?
Because it doesn't work with warlocks. There is an eldritch invocation that allows me to cast mage armor, but then I'm using up one of my invocations just to bump myself up 1 AC point, because which would put me to 15. So it was a trade-off that I'm like, no, let me just get better light armor. So I have studded leather. It was a trade-off of I didn't want to use up one of my eldritch invocations to learn mage armor.
Yeah, you are much more limited. I can just like automatically spend that every day, but that's
just
not
burn
the same.
a first level all day because I don't have first levels.
Brandon Nerd says, weren't you going to give the belt to the person who was the Quake Warden to see if it was more powerful in their hands? Yes, we did discuss that. I would like to try that. Ultimately, I would like Fahima to hang on to it, though, because I think it's her only magical item that she has.
Right.
So I want her to be able to use it. But yeah, I would like to see
a lot of our magical items are also offensive. We don't have very many defensive magical items.
True. I've got the shield, and I just need to get better at using it. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of sad that there wasn't a way for us to keep the snake or reptile armor.
Yeah, right.
What is it? The fire
lava hide.
Lizard?
Lava hide, yeah.
Yep. Hadrian X, what was the ice armor James used? No, it's James has the Armor of Agatha spell, and I still use it from time to time, but that only lasts for an hour, and it's a use of one of my spell slots. So I use that when I use that in the right kind of battles. You know, when with those speed demons that we were fighting that last time, they're like, oh, they get 3 shots in a round, but the shots only do like 8 damage. Oh, you're getting Armor of Agathis, and I will destroy you.
Very effective.
Yeah, I save it for when it. Yeah, there's the enemies that it's perfect against, but if it's area of effect or anything like that, it's not worth it. So I can't use it all the time. Yeah.
Shall we do another question?
Yes. Well, this is an easy one.
Hughes.
Yeah, Brian Hughes. I've been doing a rewatch as you all post the old episodes, and I noticed that the amulet prop seems to have disappeared. Did something happen to it? No, Jeff has it. It is. We do have the amulet prop. We've. I think we were sending some photos of it around. So yeah, we do still have it, and it's been. We got to use the amulet more, and certainly as we get back into using more Force of Good and Force of Evil cards, I think we'll see it. But it is in Jeff's possession. I've confirmed that for sure.
It's one of the only props we have from the show.
It's true. At the moment, it's true. Now, jumping right into this question is from Seth Leopard about James's demonification. If it was guaranteed James could keep his own mind and personality, what are the chances of him embracing his new demonic look permanently? I mean, it's an interesting hypothetical, but it's just purely a hypothetical. Like the old ones in Shothragot are mind controllers, and James is a mind controller. So, I mean, sure, if that was it, and if it was just looking more like a demon, if that was all, sure, probably. I just don't. I think that's very unlikely to be the case.
Yeah, I see there being a catch with any kind of demonic transformation.
That was that moment between you and I, Jessica, last episode that, you know, Fahima's optimism and loving monsters and everything was so sweet, and you were so willing and ready to make James feel okay about it.
Yeah, she's like, this is dope.
But it's not, because to James it's a death sentence. It is
Yeah.
It's a sign of corruption.
It's your time. It's my time is coming, and I appreciate you wanting to concentrate on the good, but also I need you to know that this is real bad, because I need you to be here in this moment with me. Yeah,
I think having that push and pull is good to see, because
sure.
it allows your character to kind of like really talk about why it's so bad. And I think it's fun to play someone who's like just really exaggeratedly seeing that this is cool and a good thing when it's not.
I know, and I love it, and of course it made absolute sense for Fahima to be like, oh, well, this is cool. And,
your eyes are black and you have claws and wings.
Dope.
But she does know that demons are bad. I mean, I have a whole diary post about how demons are the only creatures she has absolutely no problem dispatching, but
yeah,
that I think will change now that she has a demon, eighth demon buddy. What's your percentage demon at this point?
Who knows? And I don't know if it's a getting worse by the day thing, or if it's literally just the old ones are going to keep poking me and going, will you do this? And if James continues to say no, then it's just like, then it'll get worse. And that I think it feels like a ticking clock for James, because he very clearly made his choice as to where his allegiances really lie. And I struggled between, it's like, all right, if you just had this sprung on you, if you literally you could feel these changes happening to you, being done to you, like, how would you really respond? And I think James has been felt the burden of lying to his friends and feeling alone, and I think he's tired of it. And I think if he truly feels like he's dying, then that's where that kind of like, all right, urgency, you might lose me and they want me to do this, I'm not going to do it, you guys are more important to me. And so that, and they can see and hear everything he does, so it's just like, all right, you're going to see me say this, then you guys are more important to me, forget them. Because James drew the line in the sand and was just sort of like, if you're gonna keep asking me to choose between lying to my friends and not, I'm gonna choose you guys every time.
So I have a question. Something that was been burning in my mind during the show is, I thought for sure there was gonna be a moment where Civ and James, this was before Dip Theed got sucked underground, a moment where James and Civ and Braca were going to be on Viper, the horse, riding out of town. We get past the gates, and we wouldn't have yet met up with Lesliana and the cleric.
Yeah.
And honestly, Civ doesn't care. Like, Braca is, in his mind, Braca's already dead. Like, right. He's dead. He doesn't care. He's just this worthless sack of flesh to Civ. To Ugo, he means a lot. But I feel like there would have been a moment, and I almost wish there had been a moment, but of course James had to go back and help out with the Dip Theed situation, where Civ was going to turn to James and be like, why don't we just kill him? Like, it would make your patron happy, and I don't care, and Lesliana, she is not here. Like, let's just solve this situation. He is going to die anyways. Who cares? I honestly wanted that moment so bad, because I wanted to see the look on James's face of having to make that decision, because there wouldn't have been any negative repercussions from killing Braca in that moment, in my mind. Now, maybe Jeff would have created something, or Ugo would have seen through our lie or our ruse or whatever. But realistically, I'm genuinely curious, what do you think James would do?
I think I think James would have said no for a couple reasons. One, I think at that time, James still felt like he had things to potentially learn from Braca. Like I talked about this before, but like Braca is really the only warlock that James has ever met, and so there could be knowledge to gain from this thing, and also the old ones wanted him dead. Why did they want? Maybe there was something else there, and so there was still possibly more to learn from him. But two is, I think that James has seen the writing on the wall for a while now with the old ones, that these are people he does not want to be involved with, but he's sort of tied to them through his own fault. But it's just going to continue to get worse, and so it would just be kicking the can down the road even a little further, finding a way to keep them happy for now. And I think that's and just continuing to keep that dishonesty going, and also it would feel like a betrayal to Ugo, for it would feel like a betrayal for James of betrayal of Ugo, and yeah, he's felt the pain and the loneliness of lying to people for too long, I think, and so I think he's trying to be as cards on the table now as he can be. So I think that's probably why
James willing. Sure. What is James willing to do for sloppy goats?
At this point?
Yeah.
Maybe nothing.
Really?
Because he also knows how manipulative they are. And so even if it was seemingly benign, maybe there would still be that burning worry in James's head of, is this seemingly benign thing gonna be the straw that breaks the camel's back? Gonna be is
it gonna come back and bite us?
Completely. So he doesn't trust them at all, and he never has. So he was playing this game of chicken with them for the longest time, of just going like, is it worth it? And it just seems more and more and more that it's going nowhere good. So James has sort of, put his foot on the brakes.
So it sounds like you're going to have a tough choice in the not too distant future as far as continuing on as a warlock or not.
I don't think Jeff / Shothragot is done. I've told Jeff to make it hard on me, and because I need it to feel we need to, if this is something he's truly going to break, it needs to feel like worth it. And I don't know. He could have more cards up his sleeve for sure, ways to manipulate him. But yeah.
Do you have an idea of where you want James to end up in the end, or are you still pretty loose about that?
I have ideas, but it's that thing that we talk about all the time with improv and with storytelling, where it's like, I have ideas and I've had things I've thought about, but I'll be willing to throw all of them out if something better, a more natural answer pops up in front of me.
A new warlock patron comes along.
That's right. Go on. I don't know. It's really hard to be a good warlock for a long take a good warlock all the way to level 20, unless you're like a celestial warlock. Celestial warlocks, I think, have given people the opportunity to do that, or even archfey. I think maybe because archfays are so chaotic that sometimes they're good, sometimes they're evil.
Wait till you watch the rest of Sapphire.
Ooh, fascinating. So I don't know. It's really hard to have a good character, like whether it's Great Old One or Hexblade or I guess I haven't done that much research into genies. I think maybe you could be a good character.
And a lot of the warlock spells are just creepy. They're super dark and creepy. So even if you are like a good warlock, I need to stop
Yeah.
using finger quotes. If you're a good warlock, it's weird to be good, but at the same time have inky black tentacles coming out of a dark abyss that are
Right.
you know, slurping sounds and ripping people apart and what have you. It's just like,
I cast
how's
Nice
that
Hunter
good?
of Hadar. It
I
hugs
guess
you.
yeah, to death. It hugs you to death.
Still to death, but it's nice. You enjoy it.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like a lot of the regular wizard spells or sorcerer spells, and especially a lot of the clerical spells, they could easily be, you know, flavor texted to the point where it's not evil or creepy. But the warlock spells are innately creepy.
Yep. I gotta give props to Expendable Crewman who comes out with Hugger of Hadar.
Yes.
Nailed it. Yeah, it's true. So the question is, I'm prepared for all. I'm trying to be prepared for all possibilities with James, including even his death. I don't know. We'll see. I hope not.
Well, Fahim is tempted by blood magic, so she's got a whole little creepy side thing going on too.
He was always willing to. That was so funny. This last moment of like, you're like, do you need healing? I'm ready. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. She's definitely very interested in the blood magic, and
Easy blood girl.
I mean, I have some ideas of where I would like Fahima to end up. I mean, yeah, I've got some pretty cool ideas of where I want her to end up, but I just don't know if those would work with our story in particular. So, yeah, it's all just going to depend on how the rest of the story goes, how these last couple of pieces that we know of start to click together.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you, Jared?
You think you're gonna keep running with Fighter?
Oh yeah. All Civ's been doing lately, anyways, is fighting and killing, and I think Olsvach just reminded him of who he was, and I think Civ's just still, you know, he wants to change, but at the same time, he looks at the world and he realizes that maybe it's not all, you know, fairy tales and happy puffy story of heroes. There's a reality to it, and I think the more he grounds himself, the easier it is for him to just accept that Civ Red Thistle is a nice thought, but not real.
Interesting.
But there have been several times recently where other players, both of you and of course Lily and even sometimes Uggo, have reminded him that it is a choice and he doesn't have to be Sivrak.
Yeah.
But then every time we get into a situation where it's sticky, Sivrak pops out and does what he needs to do. So there's kind of a little bit of a split personality there, and not split personality in the sense to where I'm like developing a psychosis or something, but that whole idea behind Civ in the beginning, way back in the day, is that I was like, I don't want to be the stereotypical sneaky rogue that stabs people in the back.
Right.
Yet all of the abilities that you get as a rogue is sneaking around and stabbing people in the back. And I said, well, wouldn't it be cool if... And then Swashbuckler, the subclass, popped up, which is perfect for him. Wouldn't it be cool if he tried to reinvent himself? If he came from this horrible place, if he came from a twisted city, which we all know Olsvach really well now at this point, so we could see why Sivrak was Sivrak. But wouldn't it be fun to be able to leave that city, go into a new part of the world, and just say, especially in a fantasy setting where there's no such thing as like the internet and you can Google who people really are or background searches or anything, where you can walk in and just be like, you know what, in this city, my name's going to be Civ Red Thistle, and I'm going to talk with a Turles accent. And all of a sudden, I care more about the people, and I'm a swashbuckler, and he just reinvented himself. He just became what he wanted to be, or at least what he read about in his books and his stories. And then life caught up to him.
I think we've all, character-wise, been giving each other a lot of space lately.
Yes.
Because I think we've all been dealing with some stuff, you know,
True.
and so I think there's been, you know,
Sid definitely would have taken inventory and realized that the Ashen Mage book was not in the bag of holding and would have gone straight to Fahima, and has not done it yet. Has not done it. Because he's giving her a chance.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
I did not forget about that.
Well,
I did
that's
not
what
forget
I was
about
gonna
that.
start saying when I said before she goes to bed, I want to make sure Fahima gets a chance to take a look at the Ashen Mage book again, but
Sure.
didn't get a chance to say it.
I'm so sorry.
I got just piled on by everybody.
Yeah.
That's all I was trying to say.
I'm sorry. You're right. It was for comedy's sakes. The timing was incredible.
Yeah. I'm the
Well,
bad
we're almost nearing the hour.
Did we answer all of our Patreon questions?
We did.
Yeah.
Let me refresh one more time, make sure nothing else came in. But yes, we did. Now, coming up this Wednesday, though, as we talked about, is the finale of Sapphire Lights, which I'm so excited for. Is there anything that so we've already taped it.
Yep.
It is a pre-taped episode. We our two amazing UK players. We wanted to allow them to not stay up until until like 7 a.m.
Oh my God, so late.
On the first time. So we did pre-tape this one. So is there any kind of teases? You teased a little bit already, but I mean, like, what kind of give us a little bit of what people can expect, Jared?
Yeah, well, it takes a turn. It started out as this festival and this talent show where for everybody that's seen it, all of the players just knocked it out of the park with their various, one-man shows.
Amazing.
Or one-woman shows. And then it erupts into this big brawl. And I think there's the aftermath of that massacre that happens at the beginning of this next episode. And then they need to piece together why it happened and what they are going to do about it.
Cool.
And there's some big choices that the players had to make to kind of decide how they want to go after the issues that have arisen. And then for the next cooldown, I really want to hear what those players were going to do, or what they're going to do in game, even with the aftermath of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely follows the theme of the dungeon runs, choices and consequences.
Awesome.
Back and forth. That's still a heavy metaphor in this as well. And I absolutely love the fact that the players had such well-developed characters, and they gelled so immediately, because if there's one thing that I see that's broken in most one-shots or two-shots that was not the case in this, is that there was very little getting to know you time that was seamless, and there was very little posturing. Everybody just sort of jumped right into it, accept the given situations, and started making choices, which as a dungeon master was a huge gift for me. I didn't have to sit there and cattle prod players into, pushing the plot forward. They did it for me, which was glorious.
Yeah, I noticed that for sure. And the characters that everybody brought were so well drawn from minute one that it and that makes roleplay easier as well too. It was just kind of like, I mean, I don't get you, but I get what I'm looking at and hearing, and so it's like, okay, so I can play like, well, what's your deal a bit? Yeah.
And I was surprised. There were some player choices that I was legitimately surprised by. I thought I understood who Layla Mittens was, because she seemed so cut and dry. Yeah. And she surprised me.
Yeah.
She made some choices that were not out of character, but like just different, you know,
You're
different
like-
than the stereotypical cat burglar.
I was gonna say, you're like, Tabaxi Rogue, I got this. And they're like, wait a minute, no.
Yeah, Tabaxi Rogue and a swashbuckler.
Right.
Trisha was playing a swashbuckler. So
That's
yeah,
right.
I definitely, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And of course, the comedic relief of Lord Otten and Katie's
Yeah.
crazy hijinks.
Yep.
I
don't think
Yeah.
people realize that Lord Otten's intelligence score is a 6.
Oh my god.
Halfway through the second episode, she started saying weird, confusing things and doing things that were just like, "What is your deal?" And it's like Lord Otten is dumb.
He dumb.
Like,
real
box
dumb.
rocks, dumb. Has a great heart. Great heart.
Sure.
Dumber than a box of rocks.
Poor boy.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's Katie's character creations continue to just completely blow me away.
Mhm.
It's like who's Katie Michael's gonna come up with next?
Yeah.
Well, thank you
It'll
everybody
be
for.
fun it'll be fun and exciting when we do our next, one shot, two shot spinoff thing to see what everybody ends up playing, because it's so much more fun to see what the flip side is of people.
Yeah.
Especially if we can get like a guest dungeon master in here and we can all, jump
Yeah.
into a different skin.
I don't know if this is going to be. I know we're wrapping up, but I don't know if this. Maybe it's a cool down, or maybe it's just another show where we just go deep on character creation. Because honestly, Jessica, with Fahima and Brick and Elodie, it's Brick and Elodie both, like, even though we've only gotten to know them a little bit, immediately I had so many questions from the minute you introduced that character. You're like,
Yeah.
It's
So Elodie-
it's the
Elodie
backstory.
Yeah.
Elodie is a fairy trapped in a wooden doll's body by her warlock patron.
right.
So she's
Mhm.
like kind of a construct, but also kind of a fairy, but also a warlock. So yeah,
My
bizarre
fav-
character.
My favorite character though is always Brick, because his backstory to me is like a whole young adult novel, which is waiting to be written.
I was gonna say we haven't even gotten to it that much in the games
you
with
wouldn't.
Brick,
He's the
But
kind of character
you-
you wouldn't get to his backstory for like a year.
and you got into it, or you kind of gave us glimpses every now and then, and we're like, Brick is a sad character.
Yeah, really, very sad.
Like, for just this sweet little bundle of rainbows, you're like,
Uh-huh.
oh no, there's some real sadness and darkness
Because
there.
you see that he is wise, so there's
Yeah.
more to him.
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not just all pain bows, not just I mean, or more pain bows than rainbows.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, this has been our hour of the dungeon cooldown on a Monday.
Mhm.
I love this 3-person. This was great.
Yeah.
We
it's
should
like
do
a
this more
roundtable.
often. I know. This was amazing. But we love you, patrons. Thank you so much. And yeah, as we said, we'll be doing the drawing for the map giveaway this week. And
this
so
week.
Here it is.
Next week.
Ooh,
oh, wait, yes,
ah.
we'll announce it next week, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably how we'll do it.
Do
Good
you
call, good
want
call.
this?
You want the map.
But there's also signatures on it.
We signed it. That's right.
And Jeff's signature is going to be much more difficult to get after this.
Yeah, right. I want to
That's true,
just
that's
I want to do a quick zoom in on
Axbright? What are you trying to
Axbright,
There we go.
Turles, and then Zhang.
do? And Oya Tuscan's on the way. We don't know much about Oya
Ooh,
Tuscan.
we know nothing about that. And Vermouth?
Vermouth. Sounds
Whoa.
like a fancy liquor with a B
Yeah.
at the front.
Wow.
I kind of want to go to Sinzan, but I know we're not going to have time. But I want to go to
Where's
Sinzan
Sinzan?
and
The
get some
tattoo lady.
called tattoos. Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just-
where is that?
Just to the northwest of. Go back.
Yeah.
Go back down. Just to the northwest of Turles.
Oh,
There
right
it
here.
is.
Yeah.
And Lily also owns deed to land outside of Sinzan as
That's
well.
right.
Whoa.
that's it.
And what's up with
forgetting-
Picker? What is this like? Hold on, I gotta do this to
Picker?
zoom in. I gotta like do this dragging thing. What is up with this like little bubble town here? What
I
is
know
that?
the buildings are kind of fascinating looking, right? Looks like I don't know, looks almost Star Wars-esque.
And what's up with this
Uh,
cave?
The big cave. Who
And
knows?
the last stop out at the ankle, and Zol. Look at this little wizard tower. Look at that.
No, this is ripe for
The
exploration.
savagery? Who's this creature? What is going on at Dester? What is this monster? Orms?
Tune in for future
Lei
episodes
Zhao?
of the dungeon round.
Oh
the
my
dungeon
god,
run.
there's so much to explore.
While we explore all this, either in this campaign or in future campaigns, who knows?
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeff is actually talking about doing a more detailed version of the map as well. So it'll have, because we've been to
We need to
places
print that all over
aren't
a
on the
t-shirt.
map.
Right.
Just the entire t-shirt is the map in detail.
That's right.
Yeah.
The destroyed lighthouse outside of Boster, and stuff like that. Like the Sky Scorcher Peak is not on that map, or not specifically marked on that map.
Oh no.
It's not. It's there. It's just not marked.
Well,
I think it's
like
the big one. The big one to the south. Yes.
That's exploded with the smoke coming off of it. Yeah.
It's
Like
shattered.
Beaverby.
Biverby. We almost went to Biverby once. I remember there was some planning where we could have gone back to Dalto. It was after the shattering. Oh, Jessica wasn't here for this. It's not a spoiler though. Where we were like, we could go back to Dalto Thum, or we could go over to Biverby. It was one way or the other. Yeah. Amazing.
All right,
Well,
we gotta just wrap. We're gonna keep talking. We gotta wrap it up.
we love you folks. Thank you so much. And again, Wednesday night is the finale of Festival Sapphire Lights, and we'll be here. We got more cool stuff coming. Follow us here. Follow us on Patreon.
Yes.
On
At
Twitter
the Dungeon
and
Run.
Instagram and on TikTok.
TikTok.
On the TikTok. Yes. So thank you so much, everybody. We love you.
Bye. We'll see you Wednesday.
Humankind.
Be both.
Be both.